All right, here we go. Today's hashtag daily debate question for at MMA Junkie Radio. Which type of striker do you think is more effective? High volume or the one-punch KO artist? And I knew this would stimulate a little bit of comments, so let me read you a couple comments, and then, Dan, you can start things off. It's funny because Odyssey THFC, so that's at Odyssey THFC, says, how did Max Holloway's high volume work versus Dustin's power punches? How'd that work out? The next guy, at the shape 24Z, says, yeah, I guess it did nothing against Brian Ortega, Aldo twice, and Anthony Pettis. I mean, we have so many fights in the history of MMA that we can cite that nobody's right and nobody's wrong. No. So again, the question is, what do you think is more effective? And I just like to hear some examples, and we'll just go back and forth. But how about you?
Great setup, George, especially with adding in those tweets. It's good context to kind of lay down because you're right. There's a lot of caveats either way. Fortunately for me, I guess I can rest on what I normally pick. Again, not just for staff picks, making picks on my own breakdowns. Been doing it for years. So I'll just go off that sample size to answer this question, George. And usually it's tough. Again, usually if I'm presented with a knockout artist or a volume puncher, there's going to be certain caveats. I mean, I'm usually going to go with a more process-based individual. Now, that doesn't mean an opportunistic knockout puncher doesn't have process. Let's look at a Tyron Woodley, fueled by the game plans of Din Thomas. You're going to tell me that guy's knockouts were fluke? He's been doing it for how long? No, he's very skilled, one of the greatest fighters for a reason. But if we're going to stereotype, most of the time, process usually falls on the side of the guy with volume and pace, because he has a process, he has a plan, 2 Ps there, and a lot of times if they can get past that first round, if they're suited against the power guy, the question in mind here, let's just say, if they can get past that first round, I like that person's chances. So I'm going to go with a volume striker. I'm a fan of a lot of volume strikers like the Max Holloways of the world, for example, or even Tony Ferguson, as Donald Cerrone cited himself. So I'll go with that because I think that from the general population, the casual fans love the knockout, to even guys like Dana White. We look at the Contender Series, it's mostly those first round knockouts that are getting these guys in, and I would argue that as impressive as that is, it doesn't tell us a lot about the fighter. I like a guy that puts out a whole body of work for me to watch. Give me the volume striker.
All right. I like the one punch KO artist, but I guess I fanboyed out.
Okay.
So I just feel like I'm more on the edge of my seat. You can cut the tension in the arena more when those fights are going to happen because they lead to those highlight reel type KOs, whether it's somebody just getting kicked in the face or a punch or an elbow or whatever. I have tons of respect for the high volume, and I know that works. I think what's scary is for the high volume guy is facing a KO one punch artist who's got maturity, experience, and no ego. So those young guys that come in on the scene, they just want to decapitate you. You can get past them if you got if on your side you're experienced and calm and you have good defense and you follow the game plan. But what I noticed was guys like Yoel Romero, he turned the corner. He noticed I can't go 25 minutes exploding with every single strike. And now he just he's kind of maybe boring at times. He'll go like 2-3 minutes at a time and there's not much going on. But then when he explodes, boy, he can take you out now in round 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I mean? So he's always in the fight. How about Derek Lewis against Alexander Volkov?
Yeah.
He didn't have much left, but he had a big right hand, and he got it. And you saw, I think one time we broke down that it was a $1 million punch because he got the win bonus, the performance bonus, and he turned around right away and fought Daniel Cormier, and he got a raise and all this stuff. But again, these guys have had a ton of fights, not only in the UFC, just in their MMA career. So I think it's got to be the right KO artist. Otherwise, give me the volume puncher. But if it's the right KO artist, where you have some experience and they know how to manage that power, then I lean back to that guy. Conor McGregor said it against Nate Diaz, remember? He couldn't just throw super hard on every punch because otherwise the guy with the better cardio is going to get him. And I think he showed some maturity and wisdom there. But it was a very, very complicated question in many ways. And again, it also begs, like a lot of the high volume guys, sometimes their defense isn't the greatest either, but some of them have great defense too. So you can't just be one of those guys that says, oh, I'm not scared to get hit. The more you hit me, the tougher because it's 4-ounce gloves. Anything can happen. You know what I mean? So you also have you have to have some of the fighters that are great defensively, and they have volume, but they also have defense.
Yeah, that's a caveat for the volume guys. You have to have durability. You make a good point. You got me there as far as I can't compare that as far as the knockout artist carrying a lot more anticipation. I can't say that for the volume guys, so you definitely got me there. Although I will say you're a gambler, perhaps you guys are too, and volume guys as underdogs are really great because, again, if they can survive that storm, they can probably take that fight, and it provides a lot of live betting opportunities. But I think what we can all agree on is the best thing to happen. You gave great examples for the knockout punches with Derek Lewis and the Conor McGregors, but when we get both these guys together, like Vicente Luque, power puncher, versus a volume guy like Brian Barberina, look at the magic those produces. I think that's the best combination.
Yeah, exactly. And also that first tweet about Dustin's power punches. The good thing about Dustin is he has both. Dustin will volume you as well,
pressure.
but he also has power. You know what I mean? And there are some fighters that have a little bit of both.
Yes.
So they're not the hardest hitters ever, but they're enough to rock you. But they're also enough to be calm and experienced, and they're able to manage their energy. Dustin really tired out in that first round, when he went after Max.
Right.
But he's got great cardio, and he was able to get a second win, a third win, remain calm. There was a point when Max was turning it around and coming back.
Yep.
But Dustin had already damaged him and slowed him down. So I'm telling you, man, there is no right or wrong on this one for sure. It broke down to 64% agreed with you, Dan Tom, high volume. 36 agreed with me.
Wow.
One punch KO artist.
I thought it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, but like I say, you can cite so many examples in the history of this game, and that actually works a lot for the grappling game as well. There are some fighters that are just good at neutralizing in jiu-jitsu. That's more of an old school, I think, approach. But there was a lot of fighters that would just neutralize you and mitigate your the damage that you were throwing from on top.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Maurice Smith versus Mark Coleman, you know what I mean? You hear one?
Yeah.
There's,
Good,
like I say,
good reference there.
We can go on all day with this one. Anyway, thank you to all those that participated and left some comments, and we really appreciate you, Junkie Nation, the readers of the site, and the listeners of the show. All right, with that, we're going to go to our next break.